Coming at you live from DNHQ in beautiful South Pasadena, California. This is the Blue Heaven Podcast. What is going on, Dodgers Nation? My name is Clint. You can find me as Real FRG on Twitter and Instagram. And yes, we're back behind the big boy desk, and that is the legendary DMac_LA, the hardest working man in show business. Doug, feels like I haven't seen you in forever, even though we've been here today together, putting together this amazing show. But what's going on in your life, man? How's hanging out with all your Dodgers chums?
Man, I've been working for the people, man. I've been out in Anaheim covering Shohei Ohtani, been at Dodger Stadium. Cody and I, we were rocking the gala at Dodger Stadium. But the happiest place for me is right in this chair, talking Dodger baseball with you, Mr. Clint Pasillas.
And with the fine fans. Remember, this is their show. You just host it.
Exactly.
But guys,
facts.
drop into the comments. Let us know where you're representing Dodgers Nation tonight. We want to know about all the things you want to talk about. And we're also going to talk about things we like, things we didn't like from the last week or so of games. We got pitching trust issues, my dude, and we got to talk about them. So let's look at some trust levels that we might have with the starting rotation going forward. Is Julio's coming back, getting a little healthy, all that kind of stuff. It's time for Doug to admit maybe he's a little wrong about Miguel Vargas. So we're going to talk Miguel Vargas. We're going to talk Michael Busch. We're going to talk about second base later. No, you wait. I heard you bashing them a little bit on that post game, and All-Star talk, because now it's for real with the All-Star game and a whole lot more. Before we get into the show, I got to remind you this is also a podcast. If you can't watch us live, listen to us. It's on your podcast. Make Cody's existence happier by listening to that podcast, because he puts a minimal amount of effort to making sure those get up every single day. And
every night, baby.
Don't forget, this is also on the YouTube, so it's a live stream. Jump in the comments. Make sure you subscribe. Dodgers Nation TV on YouTube. Hit the bell. Leave a like. Leave a comment. All that kind of stuff. Let's go. Comments, my dude. What do you got?
We got some comments right here. We got the 304 in the building. Seth Gribble. We got last. The name says Destiny's More Dodgers cluttered the court. We'll throw some. We got that for days. But hey, this desk is back by popular demand.
We got to light you better. We got to get more lighting over there.
We got the Daniel Macy DMac for president. Dun, 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 dun. Anthony Keene, wish you all the best. Joanne Connor, okay, catch you elsewhere. We got where the super chat's at from Ricardo Sandoval. So yeah, you guys rock with us down below. Is Catman headed to the IL? Loranov's headed to the IL, but yeah, definitely 2 rocky starts from the Catman. I think that he's still able to perform, still able to go out there and pitch. Not his best outing yesterday. Left those 2 splitters up, gave up the two-run shots. We're going to dive into that in a little bit. We got a comment about Andre Jackson. Andre Jackson, now a bucko with the Pirates. I'm sorry, Mrs. Jackson, but your son's in Pittsburgh.
I got big time flashbacks of James McDonald. Back in the day, 2000, I guess it was traded in 2010. But J-Mac, he made something of a career with Pittsburgh, but a couple of prospects that didn't quite pan out for your boys in blue back then and right now. But again, hopefully, wishing the best. Ajax, as we call him, one of the better dudes in that clubhouse. He's a nice guy.
Paul McDonald, though. A couple years, like 4 years with Pittsburgh, definitely had some time there. So, yeah, hopefully it works out for him. And look, it clears up that roster spot. We know that just wasn't going to work out for him and the Dodgers. They're ready to move on. And look, this is an organization. I mean, Uceta got claiming. Guys are going to get claimed, and we know that other organizations, they're going to take advantage of the Dodgers' development. They want pitchers like Andre Jackson in their organization. So we wish him nothing but the best. I was on the blue carpet, and I was asking some of the celebrities who their favorite, who had the best hair on the team, right?
Yeah.
And we asked Holly Robinson Pete who had the best hair, and she said Andre Jackson. I didn't have the stomach to tell her that he had been that he was off the Dodgers at that point. I was like, yeah, no, great hair, great hair. Fantastic, easily. So, yeah, she's going to find out.
She said Outman, too.
She said Outman, too.
You
That's
gotta
true.
go Jimmy
it's tough.
Outman.
He's got a lot of letters.
She said Outman. No one said Thor. I was kind of surprised. Also, everyone kind of forgot about Thor. So.
No one said Mookie.
The magic voice you guys
No one
hear.
said Matt Beatty.
The magic voice you guys hear, of course, is DJ producer Cody's back in the saddle today.
Be back, baby.
Cody, you were there before we continue on the comments. You were there at the blue carpet. Did Doug behave himself?
Doug was great. Doug was very everyone loved Doug. Everyone was like talking
that.
because he was on Foul Territory.
Foul Territory podcast.
Earlier that morning,
Friends of
everyone was
ours.
My
like,
agent got me on there.
He walked up and was like, "Oh, is that the guy? Is that the guy that was?"
Hey,
on
by the
Foul
way,
Territory?"
yeah, if you guys didn't see that, Doug did a spot with our friends over at Foul Territory. You crushed it. I'm pretty sure Scott Braun is worried about his job right now because you were in there and you just took over that
Everything
show.
was going
Bronny.
swimmingly until the Spectrum bill Me not paying it, the internet went out, the
these
power
people
went
keep
out.
sending
I
you
mean, come on
super
now.
chats to pay your Spectrum
Bill, I'm gonna get on that. Sorry, Spectrum, we're about 9 months
we've been talking
behind.
about this since spring training that he hasn't paid his Spectrum bill. It's not actually a thing, but no, it was a good time. If you guys didn't see it, go check it out over there on YouTube. Our friends of Foul Territory.
And we're also dropping a video on the gala at tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, gonna drop a video. So got a lot of interviews. Talked to Freddie, talked to Mookie, talked to Jay. Hey, talked to Usher. Man, I was singing to Usher, singing confessions to him. It was good times.
We're a little frightened of all of the things you.
Doug was like, as soon as he saw Usher and he found out that we could get a minute with Usher, I swear to you, no Dodgers player was in Doug's mind. He was like, "Oh my God, Usher! Let's talk to Usher."
Yeah.
Hey, can you finish all the like Usher lyrics thing? That was a thing. Dodgers
Yeah, I could have definitely did that for sure.
Yeah. Big time.
These are my confessions.
Big time Usher guy over here. But yeah, check it out. More stuff is going to keep dropping from Doug and Cody's time at the Blue Diamond Gala. Once again, congratulations to the Dodgers. 10th year in a row, or not in a row, but 10th year of doing this, Dodgers Foundation, and it looked spectacular. Every year they seem to be getting better and better. You know, what is this, year 2 back since pandemic time, and you know what? They raise a lot of money. They put a lot of work into that, and they raise a lot of money for a great cause, which is.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the cause was this year, but it's always a great cause.
Yeah.
You can trust the Dodgers Foundation.
All jokes aside, I want to give a lot of credit to Nicole Whiteman. A shout out to her.
Yeah.
I mean, the work she does in the community, I mean, she is next level. She is the best at what she does. And this organization, they give back as much, if not more, than any organization in professional sports. It's not for show. It's genuine. These players are generous. And you got their superstars on the field, off the field. And you definitely like what you saw. And definitely this team, one thing I really stood out is this team really likes each other. This team is definitely bonded. I mean, one of the questions we asked was, you know, if you would go on a road trip, which 2 of your teammates would you take? And all of them were saying Jason Hayward, Miguel Rojas, Clayton Kershaw, Mookie Betts. I mean, this team definitely is very close. It's not like one of those situations where you're cool with your coworker and then when the next guy moves on, you never hear from again. But these guys are going to be friends for life, right? I mean, Clint, and I could go out another place. You're still my boy for life, right?
I have a few.
Same thing for these guys.
I have a few of those from this podcast alone, but you know.
Hey, no, these guys, they're friends before they're coworkers, right? You can just tell the bond that this team has. And it's one reason why I think that this team is definitely invested in this season. It makes a lot of sense to go all in on this team because this nucleus, it's a one-year thing. And the chemistry they have, I think it's unmatched. Last year, of course, they win 111 games, but definitely felt like when the game's over, you go this way, I go that way. This team, they're hanging out. They're those coworkers that like to hang out after the games.
And funny, they bring up Jay because we know Jay likes to go out and he'll pick up the bill a time or two for these guys. For some of the younger kids, I'm sure that's important. I know we got a super chat in the chat, but give me a second because I want to get through a few of these comments. Sorry, we riffed for a while and we had to give some well-earned congratulations to the Dodgers Foundation. But Victor's checking in from Compton. Seth Gribble from the 304. Lats, the name, says the desk needs more Dodgers cluttered decor. We're working on it. There's still some things we need to do to this to perfectly button it up, but it will be coming. It will be coming soon. We got a whole wall of Dodger clutter back here, which actually looks really nice. So shout out to Gary Lee for making the wall look good. Matthew checking in from Castaic. Victor Banos says, I think I said it right. This is July is coming soon, and Julio reloaded too. He will be back this week. Timothy says Vargy going to figure it out. It is in his blood. We got a lot to talk about from Gil Vargas later. This is the #1 Mickey Ryder in America. So I promise you he's going to have a lot to say.
Pause.
Daniel for Mexico City. Joshua says, let's get D-Mac to the All-Star game. Did we ever figure out if we're sending
Let's
you?
go. I'm not sure.
Probably not. We'll do that at another point. Daniel Macy is checking in 505 Albuquerque. Victor says Clint needs a raise, and that is the Hornito shot taker of the day. No, but I appreciate you, Victor. Let's go. Give me what you got.
We got a super chat. I hope you guys are enjoying the music. They can't, but I know you guys. Anyways, we got LDBC as most wanted. He said, salute to Dodgers Nation. How likely is it that we don't make the World Series? Roberts is fired. I'm honestly tired of the guy. Go Dodgers.
I mean, if you look at Fangraphs, you look at the odds right now. I mean, the Dodgers are still in the mix with one of the teams that has the best chance to go to the World Series. I think the National League, you don't have any true juggernauts. I think there's a lot of talent on this team, and I truly believe, my heart of hearts, deep down in my bones, that this team is one really good starter and one really good reliever from being a legitimate World Series contender. I truly believe that because I think the offense is there from top to bottom. I think that you definitely want. I mean, you saw Friday's game. The bottom of the lineup definitely performed better. James Outman, he's starting to heat up that stolen base. Michael Busch, we'll talk about the doubles, the at-bat quality there. But yeah, you look at the top of this lineup. I mean, they're as good as any lineup in Major League Baseball. It's just the starting pitching and the bullpen that needs a little refining. And the bullpen had a good week, and they beat two teams that, I mean, you go to Anaheim, you score 4 runs, you give up 0 runs, and then you take 2 out of 3 from the Astros. I was definitely a little greedy against the Astros team, but I absolutely, to answer your question, I think this team, I would give them about a 33% chance of winning the World Series right now. And honestly, in Major League Baseball,
That's really good.
when you look at it, it's a crapshoot. I mean, it's a crapshoot. I mean, this team
100% a crapshoot. You learned that last year. They won 111 games and were bounced pretty damn early. It's not how you get there. It's what's happening just as you get there to the dance. So doesn't matter what they're doing right now. It really doesn't. You just got to make the turning. You're good.
Yeah, exactly. I think last year you peaked at the wrong time. And I think if you're on this roller coaster, if you're on Goliath, right, you can go out the ups and downs. I think you build up momentum through the season when you get guys back, when you make some trades, when you play close games down the stretch. I'm looking forward to seeing some meaningful September baseball, some meaningful August baseball where you're fighting for a division, where you're fighting for a wild card seeding. So I definitely think that's going to bode well because I think that time off in between the end of the season and the NLDS, while the Padres were gaining momentum by beating the Mets in New York, I definitely think that played up in the fact that, yeah, we were their World Series. So, yeah, hey, don't give up on your Dodgers. The Dodgers, I think, are sitting in a really nice position where they're making it through these ebbs and flows, and I think Julio Urias coming back. I expect Julio Urias to come back and pitch very well, and we're going to talk about that when we get to the pitchers.
Yeah, one last one I wanted to read. Appreciate all the comments so far. But Sarah Morris checking in as always from the 307. What's going on, Sarah? She says, we need a starter because I don't trust any of them. So that, I feel, is a good enough segue to talk about things we didn't like and things we did like this week. You know one thing I did like? This Manta Sleep mask.
Yes, sir. I love Manta Sleep. I love Manta Sleep. Manta Sleep, that is the best mask in the world. Manta Sleep. They make the world's best sleep masks and sleep accessories. Everything they do is to enable better lives through better sleep. They work relentlessly to improve and optimize sleep so that you can have the best energy to live your best life. Check out mantasleep.com today so you can sleep better anywhere, anytime. Get your Manta mask today. Use the code DN2023.
And I think that saves you like 10%. But I'm gonna go.
They were sleeping on my boy Miguel Rojas's outfit at the Blue Gala.
Bro,
he had the chest going.
No,
He had the chest going.
was he late to the gala? And
No, he
that's why.
wasn't.
Oh, because
It was-
fashionably late.
They came in like a.
I just thought like
blur.
he was like scrambling. That's why he didn't put on his shirt.
He's rocking the
So
Prada.
he was really late. Put on, you know,
Who's saying
Bobby
all
Big
of
Time.
this?
Bobby Big Time was
Bobby Miller.
rocking.
Bobby Miller was drip. That's
the LV drip.
the LB drip was nice, man. He was
Hey, what's going on, guys?
that little Undertaker.
Good
you
Manta
know,
mask.
Well, guys,
I would give Bobby Miller first. He
Bobby
was
Miller
first.
is gonna that outfit that Bobby Miller was wearing.
With the
Doug's
ice?
gonna be wearing it tomorrow next year to the Blue
Ice
Gala.
Bobby.
You should.
Hey,
Well, we're gonna be best
And how about
friends
Max Muncy? He had the Wish.com version of Bobby Miller's outfit.
We
That's
love Max when it
rude.
comes to that.
No, it was great. I love
All
Max
right.
Muncy.
The people are here for Dodger talk or Dodgers talk because I don't want to get sued. So one of the things I liked about the team from this week, they showed a little more fight, and they also showed a little more good luck, even though that's not something you could really do. This was a team that played a lot better. They won 4 of 5 contests they had. Of course, a couple of days off. You want to win more baseball games, but I think you saw, obviously, I think you saw the luck change when that ball took the hop. Michael Busch's RBI hit took the hop over Jared Walsh at first base in Anaheim. That's when you saw the momentum kind of change.
Yeah, no, I was at a little video game controller. I was controlling that. I don't know what was happening with that ball.
Probably
but-
shouldn't bring up video game controller right now with the whole submarine thing.
Oh, yeah. Wow, okay.
Too soon?
But, look, I think you're absolutely correct, though. I think that the fact they hit rock bottom in a series at home against the Giants, and they struggled, the offense struggled, you see the pitching, didn't have it, and you just so happen to have Clayton Kershaw on the mound. You just so happen to have
helps.
the best pitcher of the generation, the guy that 413 starts later, he's still the best pitcher on the Dodgers. For him to go in there, get on that mound, he's pitched very well in Anaheim. I think that 7th inning is what really stood out to me. That 7th 7th inning. Drury gets that single. Renfroe, he doubles to right. And Podlow grounded to short. Then Wallach, he struck him out swing on that 3-2 count with the slider. So he had runners on second and third, no out. Then he ends up walking Rengifo to load the bases. Then he has that little conversation. Hey, I wanted a little backstage Dodgers there. What were you talking about? Clayton Kershaw, Miguel Rojas there when he gets Velasquez to ground out. And that, to me, changed the series. I don't want to say it was the turning point of the season or anything like that, but things could have gone south because, hey, look, let's be honest. I mean, we're going to talk about this in a second. The offense didn't have their best week. The pitching had their best week, really, of the season, really front to back. And I think Clayton Kershaw totally changed that season. And I agree with you 1,000%. Just the luck. I mean, it felt like what could go wrong did go wrong over the last few weeks. Here you start to see some breaks for the Dodgers, stealing some bases, throwing out guys on the bases, getting key base hits, and some of the guys bottom of the lineup kind of getting it together. Miguel Vargas had a home run in that series with the Angels, a little insurance run there, but yeah. Absolutely.
You really had to throw that in there, didn't you?
I was just a little primer. It's a primer.
Just, save that in your back pocket.
I don't got a lot of ammo to work with, right?
No, there was a lot of things that went better, a lot of things that went well. You couldn't have gotten much worse coming out of that Giants series. A well-timed day off going into that Anaheim series. A few things go their way, and all of a sudden it feels like the end of that chapter of the season. Yeah, you're not completely changing the season on the back of a Kershaw start and then going from there, sweeping the mini series in Anaheim. But you are closing the book on a really just ugly chapter of this season, and you're opening into what is hopefully going to be a fruitful part of the season because you're getting a bunch of dudes back. Muncie's coming back on Tuesday. Dan Hudson, Julio Urias this weekend in Kansas City. Ryan Pepio's throwing. It looks like they might bail on Miguel Vargas, so maybe you'll have some offense at second base. I had to throw one in there for you.
I heard that.
So yeah, it's a good time to be good. And by the way, I feel like I need to remind people, because I didn't at the top of the show, you guys are now home with Dodgers Nation and Jim Beam, so please do drink responsibly. Can't forget to remind you guys about that. What else did you like from these last 5 games of Major League Baseball?
Well, I think you got to start with that bullpen. So as far as the results, I like the results. I mean, 1 earned run in 23 innings of work. Dodgers bullpen had a .39 ERA. The strikeout rate was a little bit above league average, so you saw a better job. I mean, what if I told you Alex Vesia in a clutch game was going to punch out Shohei Ohtani, get Mike Trout out, facing the top of the lineup, having success? Yancy Almonte had a good week. Brusdar Graterol as the opener pitches 2 scoreless innings. By the way, Brusdar Graterol, I was in the dugout in Anaheim, and I just was standing there, and he came up to me, and he just stood there like right in front of me. That looked like the Predator. I thought he was going to heard something I said recently and was going to rip me apart, and he just gave me a big fist pound. And then we talked about his new Jerry curl and whatever he's got going on.
Talking guy.
The talking guy is, as he affectionately calls me. But yeah, I think to see this bullpen do what they did, I was very impressed. Yesterday, you gave up the Brusdar Graterol, gave up the hits, had the walks. I mean, not his best outing. I mean, but still, as a whole, you got to feel really good about this bullpen, what they were able to accomplish. But I will say, it almost feels like yesterday. I mean, you saw him give the leadoff base hit that ended up as the single to, and they really weren't able to come back. The hit by, if it wasn't for Myers' bad base running by the Astros, that inning could have been much worse. So I think what the big takeaway and what we learned is, look, if you can't miss bats consistently, bad things are going to happen. Everyone says the pitcher's best friend is the double play ball. I always say the pitcher's best friend is the ability to miss bats. It's the ability to punch guys out because you don't have that flukiness, right? And this bullpen is not built on that. So it almost feels like they had that good week, but it's like when you get in the fight with your girlfriend or your wife or whatever, and you're trying to make up for it, and you give them chocolates and candy and flowers, and then you want to get on her good side again. Then the next week, you're still the same guy. They're still the same bullpen, right? They're still the same bullpen they're not missing bats. They're kind of doing what they do outside of Evan Phillips. Really, everyone to me, I think, is on notice. I still want to see them go out there, potentially make a trade. I think one of the bright spots, Michael Grove, he talked about just trying to build that adrenaline coming out of the bullpen. He's a guy touching 97, 98, has the 12-6 curveball, has the tight slider. I think he's a good guy who could be a weapon, but I still want to see him go out there and make a trade. I want to see them possibly go after David Robertson if the Mets make him available. I want to possibly see them go after Middleton. Middleton's my new guy. Guy on the White Sox. 4-seam fastball, changeup, slider, 2.33 ERA, and a 32.7 strikeout rate. I think you package him with Lucas Giolito, and hey, we take off, and we have the momentum. You got a starter and a reliever. But I still think, hey, results-wise, I talked to Jose Mota, and one thing he told me was the way they were attacking hitters really owning both sides of the plate, the fastball inside to righties. That kind of changed things and just the overall mindset. I appreciate the team-only meeting that was set up by Brusdar Gratterall. What do you think was said in that team meeting, Clint?
I think it was
Pitch better.
no, it was Que Paso.
Que paso?
Which is
Hey,
my greatest line of all time to Brusdar Gratterall. No, I
Absolutely.
mean at this point, Dave has said a few times he's not going to be the guy to pull the team aside and have not a players only, but they're not going to have a team meeting about where they're at right now. He doesn't feel like the team meetings are going to be they're not going to be fruitful. He talks to these guys individually, but to have your group of coworkers get together to talk about how things aren't working or whatever, that's definitely maybe they just needed a little mental boost or whatever. I think it was more of just that the day off after an ugly series against the Giants. That's probably.
But where are you at with Brusdar, just in general?
I'm kind of out on Brusdar right now, man. He's given up a lot of runs. Not all of them are earned, but he's been scored on in what one? Where are you at? Let's see. I'm gonna count. Everybody, see if you can count together with me. So 1, 2, 3, 4. He's been scored on in 4 of his last 11 outings, and they've been kind of I kind of don't count. You don't count the ghost runner thing, but he's kind of out here wilding. He's kind of out here capping and selling. No, he's getting out of what made him like really good at the start of the season, which is just attacking the zone. I don't know if he's I don't know kind of what's going on with him right now. It feels like maybe he's nibbling a little bit more, or maybe trying to force a strikeout, whatever it is. But he's one of the guys I'm really concerned about. You mentioned Michael Grove. He's really bad against left-handed hitters out throughout his short career. Lefties are hitting, I think it was 322 off him. OPS of like 970. They're all-star hitters against Michael Grove. So that doesn't play up in your bullpen. You can't really just have a Rugi in that bullpen. Dodgers are in a good spot. You're getting Dan Hudson back. That's a guy that you're really going to be able to judge a lot of your next month off of, in my opinion. Because if he does well, you might not need to go get the expensive reliever. They find their next version of Chris Martin or whatever it may be. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. But anyways, I've been talking way too long, and I know Cody's got something magical and special.
We got a super chat. Sorry, I forgot to play the music. Anyways, Michael Carrillo for $2 said, "Can you name 5 Dodgers who will be traded?" Can you name 5 Dodgers who will be traded?
Michael Bush.
Oh.
Diego Cartaya. Oh, I threw it out there. Your boy signed that LA sign. All right, I gave 2. Who else you got?
$5. I mean, that's a pretty good start right there. I think Michael Bush definitely don't have a good spot for
Eddie's
him.
Leonard.
Eddie's Leonard's Andy Pages probably
Pages
at some point. Well, I mean, just eventually on this team, I think that's definitely a possibility. Miguel Vargas, you want him traded. Trace Thompson. Yeah, I think for this team, you're not going to really see very many trades at the big league level. It's going to be all prospects. So, yeah, I think really what it comes down to is who are the prospects that the Dodgers are invested in, who are the prospects that they feel good about. And look, really, if you look at the fact that they have all those, everyone from the street to Frosto to Hurt, I mean, the guys that are lights out, the guys that have the highest velocity team in all of Major League Baseball right now. But, yeah, I think Diego Cartaya, I mean, I think they're going to trade him, but I don't see them trading him during the season. I think they're going to trade him when they're going to cash in big time. When you're going to cash in for the big ticket item, I think that's more of an offseason trade, something that would be a centerpiece of almost like a Mookie Betts type trade. Your number one prospect, your catcher right there. Because, look, they got Dalton Rushing still coming up. You got a lot of talent right there. I think you don't trade Emmett Sheehan, any of the top prospects. I think Tony Gonsolin, if you look at his value, if you look at the split finger fastball, if you look at the split change, what that does to your arm, the drop in velocity, if you look at the contract, he signed that 2-year deal to get some of those arbitration years out. I mean, if they could find some value for Tony Gonsolin, I mean, I could possibly see them moving on for him if he was the one guy at the big league level. That's a name. But, yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of guys kind of at the lower level. Because Maddox Bruns, River Ryan, I mean, these guys, you want to hold on to all these pitchers, man. You definitely want to hold on. Maybe Yorbit Vivas is a guy you maybe package in a deal.
They're going to need to clear some spots on the 40-man roster. So there's a few dudes on there that just kind of don't make too much sense. And you also don't know how high they are on somebody like Johnny DeLuca in the long run. I don't think very high. I think he's up more out of necessity right now. But, you know, that's all I got. You never know what the hell Andrew Friedman's doing.
Yeah.
That dude, he's playing it close to the vest. He's got the water bottle. He's got the robe on. He's working. He's got the phone working.
No, he's cooking. I mean, I think the big kicker in all this, the thing that could change the access of this all would be if Shohei Ohtani becomes available. And then if that's the case, I think everyone is available. I think they would be willing to move a Bobby Miller or Diego Cartaya just to say, hey, we're the team that went all in to go get you, so re-sign with us. But, yeah, as far as like the top 10 guys, Michael Busch, it depends how invested. I mean, have they seen enough from Busch? If Vargas, the thing about Vargas is even if he plays so poorly this year, they're still going to give him a runway. Look at Gavin Lux. He was terrible as far as statistically his first year, and then they still were going to make him the starting shortstop of the Los Angeles Dodgers, everyone's dream job, right? So they're not going to move off of him anytime soon. I think you have to also consider the prospect age. Busch is 25. Vargas is 23, still has a lot to learn. Pepio is kind of an interesting name because Pepio has some big league experience. You know that changeup is filthy. You know there's probably some franchise and organizations out there that might say, hey, we want to see him as a bullpen piece maybe down the line. But, yeah, I think you're going to probably – when they make a trade, a lot of the fans are probably going to say, who's this guy, who's that guy? But it's not going to be anyone at the big league level, save for maybe a Michael Busch or a Tony Gonsolin, which I don't even anticipate.
I am really looking forward to this trade deadline. I think this is going to be this has the potential to be one of the more exciting ones, and even like the Trey Turner, Max Scherzer one, that wasn't necessarily exciting. Like it was cool, it happened, it was surprising. But you want something that's like, holy crap, where the hell did all this come from? I want the 08 trade deadline where it was Casey Blake, and then all of a sudden you get Manny Ramirez. Just really go all the way in.
Yeah.
But let's get into a couple of comments here, and I know we got more on there, but some people are talking about Miguel Rojas. I like Miggy Rowe. What he's doing right now, he's doing his job. You don't need he doesn't need to be an all-star slugger at shortstop, and he's doing his best considering his physical limitations at the moment. He is far from healthy for sure. Seth Gribble saying Grove is already in the bullpen technically, but not technically. He did pitch that one game out of the bullpen. I think he'll be the first guy probably the second guy to go down to AAA once you're getting healthier at the end of the week. Dylan Hare says Hudson comes back. Fingers crossed. Hudson comes back as good as he was last season. David Ross says that at this point the kids are out playing the veterans, and in terms of the starting rotation, yeah, even with a couple of stinker innings from Bobby Miller, the only veteran out pitching them, if you want to say out pitching, it's Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one constant. That's the one guy you say, hey, he's still the best pitcher. He's the head of the spear. He's the guy that's carried this team. But I still think, look, Bobby Miller, 2 straight Rocky starts. He's had some frustration at times. You see him miss pitches. You saw his last start, give him the bomb to Lamont Wade, hangs the curveball, and then he gets frustrated after that unexpected bunt to Altuve. You see him fielding first, and he's a guy that you want to have him just cradle those emotions and just take a deep breath. And that's what he talks about after games, is taking that deep breath and getting poised. I think I did like to see Mark Pryor just kind of going out there earlier than later, having that mound visit, but still, he's got to go out there and execute pitches. The home run to Bregman, I mean, that's a 98-mile-per-hour sinker up and in that he hits for a bomb. I think he might have been tipping his pitches a little against this Astros team, so we know that that's definitely a possibility. But, yeah, as far as them outplaying the veterans, look, I mean, still the veterans on this team in the lineup, Mookie Betts, 136 weighted runs created plus, Freddie Freeman, I mean, he's still one of the best. But as far as starting pitchers go, yeah, it's tough to argue with that, especially the way Julio Urias looked. But the thing with Julio is he wasn't right. He wasn't right physically. No. And he made it known around the organization that when he went on the IL, he was going to the Dodgers coaches. He went to them and said, I don't feel right. My lower body is not feeling right. And for Julio, a gamer, a guy that wants to be out there on the mound competing, helping his teammates win ball games, for him to go and do that, that tells you something. That, to me, speaks to the fact that this guy realized that it's about October. It's about after the All-Star break. So I fully expect Julio Urias to start pitching like the Urias once again. I think Julio Urias is definitely primed to get back to where he was. And yesterday, 4 innings of work for Rancho, get 1 run on 2 hits, had 8 punch-outs and 1 walk. So it's definitely encouraging to see those strikeout numbers where they are. And I think when he comes back, you got 2 legitimate frontline guys in Clayton Kershaw and Julio Urias. we'll see Bobby Miller, because Bobby Miller, that to me is the big question. What does Bobby Miller look like? Because 2 straight Rocky starts. Now you're really in the show. Kind of that new car smell has worn off a little bit on Bobby Miller.
Yeah, let's take a beat and we'll get into starting pitching in a little bit. I know Cody's got a couple of things locked up for me over here. We want to hear from DJ producer Cody.
We got 3 super
Three?
chats.
That's all 2.
3.
Let's go.
Shout
out to
You better be right on cue.
Lorenzo Gaddis said, "Are we back in the Outman train or nah?" Swollen Sausage says, "Vargas was no Manny Mota yesterday." And he also said, "Hey, what's up?"
He was no Manny Mota yesterday.
And
Hi,
then
Swollen Sausage.
We have Diane Schroeder. In your video today, D-Mac, you said you would like to see the Dodgers acquire Tim Anderson. What would you do with Gavin Lux when he comes back?
Well, that video was actually recorded a week ago.
Don't give away the. I'm pretty sure you guys
I would
recorded like 2
say,
weeks
look,
ago.
I mean, I think what Gavin looks like, I mean, there's a lot of options you could do, Diane. First of all, shout out, we always appreciate the fairy godmother of Dodgers Nation, Diane Schroeder, the great Diane Schroeder. Probably rock with us from Cancun, sipping a pina colada or something like that right now. But yeah, I mean, if you trade for Tim Anderson, he's got that team option, $14 million. You could pick that up. You could also pick that up and trade Tim Anderson if you wanted to go that route. So they do have flexibility. You could also do what they did at the WBC, play him at second base. Because right now, look, people, they're clamoring for Michael Busch. Hey, Michael Busch, yes, he's looked a lot better. I believe in Michael Busch. I love the fact he's taken 4 or 5 pitches in at bat. You're seeing hard contact. You saw the big double. I think he's looking more comfortable at the plate, and he's gaining confidence. But still, it's a 200 hitter at second base as well. So I still think there's a world where if you did want to include Tim Anderson in a blockbuster deal that includes Middleton, includes a Lucas Giolito and a Tim Anderson, if you want to go that route, you can definitely find a place for him. And then Mookie Betts, I think you move in the infield spots, you throw him in the outfield where he's a Gold Glove winner. So I still think it's a possibility. And then third base, you have some flexibility as well. We saw Michael Busch play at third base, Max Muncy, of course, what you do with him. So yeah, I'm just looking at gaining these assets that can help you win this season. I'm not all in on, they need Tim Anderson, because I think Miguel Rojas, I think to me, it's kind of what's changed my mindset as far as my thought process as far as Miguel Rojas is just kind of talking to some of these players and kind of being around the team a little bit. He's usually the first guy that gets brought up. I mean, we talk about his defense, his leadership, playing behind Emmett Sheehan, the confidence that he gave him, the plays that he's making. I mean, it definitely changes how pitchers are on the mound, having him by, and also getting good clutch base hits at times. He's not going to give you doubles and leave the yard, but still, my only concern with him is it does feel like you're always holding your breath when he's sliding into home, when he's sliding for a ball, that you don't want to lose him for the season because he was traded to be a depth piece and a utility infielder. Yeah,
he's definitely got. He's got some mileage on those legs. He's got some age on those legs for sure. So you're gonna always have that kind of pause. You have to, like you said, hold your breath a little bit on him. But yeah, he's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. Right now it's tough with CT out, but CT has also kind of been really, really rough. Maybe it's not Tim Anderson, but this team definitely needs one more middle infield option that could hopefully be a positive on offense. But we will talk more second base in a little bit. I don't want to get too far off the script about that because I do want to dive into that. But so far, thank you, Diane. Thank you, Swollen Sausage. And then Lorenzo with the Outman. Are we back on the Outman train or not? I like what I'm seeing out of Jimmy Outman right now. He's back hitting. He's hitting 290 over his last, 7-8 games or something like that. 9 games, 7 starts. The swing just looks a little bit better. You could see, to me, you could see a little bit more confidence in the box. I think he's feeling like he could make a difference as opposed to just kind of flailing and hoping the bat hits the ball. So, is he all the way back? Absolutely not. But is he getting there? You know, what we saw in April, that's not what you're going to get out of James Outman. If you can get something close to it, that makes a whole bunch of difference in that 7 or 8 spot somewhere in this lineup, or even as high as 6. So I am excited about the next few weeks for James Outman, because if he doesn't do well, now all of a sudden you need to figure out if you're also trying to go out and acquire an outfielder. I don't think Johnny DeLuca is the future for this organization this year. But anyways, let's get back on track a little bit. We have a couple of things we like, a couple of things we didn't like. What else? Do you have anything else, or do you want to move on and talk about either dive more into the pitching or dive more into second base? I personally think we should move on and look at that pitching staff.
Well, I just want to say, answer your question. I definitely would say I'm halfway in on James Outman being back.
Toe in the water?
A little toe in the water. I think you saw the game he had on Friday, him getting on base, and I think the big difference is when he was having success early on, lots of slug, lots of home runs, 9 home runs, extra base hits. We saw him get the extra base hit. By the way, can I vote? I motion to replace that chain link fence.
You made it well known on a couple of
that chain link fence. I'm going to see in my nightmares. But yeah, the fact that he's letting the extra base hits come to him now, right? It's just about getting hard contact, and he's
one, but.
Yeah, but I think you're starting to see it go from not hitting the ball at all to hitting some singles, feeling more comfortable out there, doing things on the base pass, stealing bases, and being more dynamic. So I definitely think that he's on the right track. And I think whenever there's a rookie player that's going through a slump, that's going through hard times, there's some times when you start to see them lose confidence and they start to really self-doubt starts to creep in. They start to wonder, do I belong? Once you climb out of that first slump, remember, you got to crawl before you can walk. I think when you do that, and James Outman is definitely starting to do that, it's all about pulling his pants down too. You notice that? The socks aren't exposed. It's all pants. So yeah, I think James Outman is on the right track. I'm not all the way on him being out and him being back, but I definitely think that he's on the right track.
On the right track, and that's what you want.
Yeah.
It's hitting the ball harder and louder, and that's a good time for everybody. Let us, you got something else? Oh, I saw you dancing. Just having a good time? That's how we have a good time. We dance here, apparently, in the background. But there is a good time. There is reason to be happy. The Dodgers are getting healthy. They are getting the Uri Ace, knock on desk, back on, we don't know when he's going to start, probably Friday or Saturday in Kansas City. With that, now there's kind of some question marks to be asked, or questions to be asked about the in the starting rotation. Who are the guys you're going to want to trust going forward for the next however long until Kershaw ends up on the IL with the back injury? I'm hoping the more I put it out there, the less likely it is to happen.
I like that.
Because
reverse hedge.
I really like. I forgot what the hell he was on. He did a hit somewhere. And he was talking about how, one of the reasons he's feeling or he's pitching better or whatever is like he kind of changes routine. He's not throwing as much between starts. And that's helping keeping him healthier, keeping the legs, keeping the SI joint in his hips, keeping the back healthy, keeping the shoulder, the elbow, everything. It's keeping it more tidy for him, and he's able to go out there and shove to the best of his abilities as a 35-year-old. Yeah, he's not posting a 170 ERA anymore, but we'll still take what we can get out of Kershaw. But I like that. I'm really hoping I'm just keep throwing it in the ethos. If I say he's going to get hurt, the universe is going to try to make me look stupid. So we're all doing that here together. But I would argue of all of the starting pitching options the Dodgers will have starting next weekend, Kershaw's the guy you really trust the most in this of the 6 or 7 options.
Yeah, for me, it's as long as he's healthy when he's out there on the mound, as long as he has the feel for that slider, he's going to be effective. As long as he's hitting his spots, he's going to be effective. Some nights he's not going to have the best feel for that slider, and maybe he might give up a couple solo home runs. But like Clayton Kershaw said on Mookie's podcast, you live with a solo shot. It's the walks. It's the at-bats that get the pitch counts up. So absolutely for him, if I had to gauge, I give it a 9, and that's my trust level for Clayton Kershaw. I would trust him for sure. I think the only thing for him is just you kind of worry about, look, he hasn't made more than 22 starts since 2019. So the starts are adding up. He isn't on the IL. And I think he wants to send a message and make a point that, hey, he is a guy that does not want to have that reputation, that he's some part-time player, that you have load management. So I kind of want to have the organization almost save Kershaw from himself, right? Do you think that's something that maybe, hey, he wants to be out there, but hey, Kersh, slow down? I
think he knows he doesn't plan on pitching that many more years. So if he is going to pitch this year, he's going to try to empty the tank to go out and win a second fully legitimate championship ring. So if that's what he wants to do, if he wants to go out on top, if the Dodgers can somehow win a World Series this year, I think as much it would suck, I would be okay with him riding off into the sunset and blowing everything he has this year to get through it, and hopefully, put together one more 30-start season or whatever it may be.
That'd be great. If that's the case, he's a guy who could be in the mix for the Cy Young. I definitely think he should be in the mix to be a starter, the All-Star game. I think that'd be great to see him for the second straight year. By the way, I was very disappointed he wasn't wearing Skechers at the gala, but
But it's the S.
it's the S, exactly, right? I mean, also, I mean, this guy just won. Dodgers have won 7 of 8 starts when he's been on the mound this season. 4-time this year. He's pitched 7 scoreless innings in a game. I mean, he's still one of the best pitchers in the game, so he's absolutely going to make the All-Star team. But trust level, he's still the guy right now. So not too much on that, but I will say, next time I ask you for a minute more on a topic, you just got to say 5 seconds.
I got 5
You
seconds.
got 5
man.
seconds,
I
right?
got 5 seconds,
Got
man.
5 seconds.
Hey,
That's
by the way,
that's what Kershaw said to me at the gala.
Hey, hit that thumbs up button on YouTube, guys. Doug finally got a question in with Clayton Kershaw. I mean, he did last year at the ping pong tournament, but Kershaw's forced to talk to just about everybody at the ping pong tournament. I've been to those. It's a great event. I love the ping pong tournament.
Also, after his strikeout record game, I got one in. But that was...
Just give me this.
Okay, sorry.
Thumbs up in the chat or on the YouTube. Boost Doug in the algorithm on YouTube.
Appreciate you guys.
For Clayton Kershaw. So Kershaw, yeah, you trust him through and through. That's your guy you want in any game, any situation. He's been the best stopper. It's fun to watch every start of Kershaw's because you don't know what stat he's going to break next or what new record for either baseball or the organization he's going to tie or make or whatever it is. It's fun seeing that, you know, how many things Clayton Kershaw is at the top of in the illustrious history of this damn franchise, and we get the privilege of watching him. Another guy we're getting the privilege of watching right now. I saw somebody in the chat saying they don't feel like we're very high on Emmett Sheehan. Well, I'm putting him second on this list that has no particular order. I just decided I want to talk about Emmett Sheehan next because he's kind of the guy I trust the second most in this rotation right now. Where are you at on the Emmett train, I'm going to call it?
I think that's fair. I think I would still put Bobby Miller just ahead of him because Bobby's had a little more experience. We've
just
seen
let
what he's
him
done
pitch
at
4
his
innings
best.
and that's it.
And just let him just control his emotions. I think he's going through the process. I wouldn't be surprised if 3 or 4 weeks down the road, Emmett Sheehan's gonna have a rough start. We're gonna all
100%.
It's the meme, like
That's
I
what
said.
right now.
Right now. I mean, look to me.
Right now.
I look. Emmett Sheehan's been fantastic. 1.5 ERA in 2 starts. Gave up the home runs, but I love the fact that they're going out there and they let Emmett Sheehan do what he wants to do as far as the way he attacks hitters. That 4-seam fastball is explosive. It acts like a 2-seam fastball. 4 slide. You're seeing we're up in the zone. The slider breaks left. So they're simplifying that mix with the 4-seam fastball and that slider, and it's going to play at this level. And I think that this organization trusts him. He's another guy with college experience. He's a guy that believes in his stuff. So, yeah, I think for him, as far as trust level, I would give him like a 7.5 or 8. But as far as potential, this guy, he has got the arsenal, man. He has got that explosive fastball you just can't teach. The way he can work it up in the zone to all quadrants, and the fact that the way it's tunneled off that slider just breaks left at the last second. I mean, this guy's going to be lethal for years. So I think the sky's the limit for Sheehan. But I also will say, I mean, first game, the BABIP gods, they smiled on him. I mean, you saw those fantastic plays. Miggy Rowe made the splint play. Freddie Freeman diving in foul territory a couple times. Mookie Betts, he makes a play in right field at a 20% catch probability. He was fantastic, but his last start, Sheehan goes 6 innings. And, yeah, he was great. I mean, a lot of those 3 hits, the 2 home runs. But, yeah, I mean, occasionally you're going to see him give up those home runs. But I think that he's definitely a guy that you got to buy into. And think about that. I mean, you probably were thinking, okay, maybe Gavin Stone. If not Gavin Stone, Bobby Miller.
I remember Gavin Stone.
Remember Gavin Stone? Yeah.
Been so long.
Yeah, he is. He's definitely seen better times. But yeah, I mean, if you look at the home run to Dubon, that was a slider left out over the plate. The home run to Tucker, changeup. So yeah, for him, he's just gonna learn. Challenging big league hitters is a different animal, but also he has the confidence to attack hitters because that 4-seam fastball is the real deal. Like I said, 4 slot, way it works off that slider, he's got the goods.
So what's the trust level number?
7.5, I said. 7.5.
I was totally listening to your whole rant.
7.5 for my man Emmett Sheehan, who's got the peach fudge stash.
I'm tough with the Sheehan thing because I really want to be all in on him. But I know they can't be all in on him for the rest of the season. Like there is, maybe it's not a hard pitch limit or a hard innings limit, but there is an innings limit on this kid, and it's going to happen at some point or another. Whether that comes first or the league adjusts to him comes first, we don't know. But for, again, where we're at right now, I love what this boy is doing for this damn rotation because they would be very lost without him. There would be another... more Michael Grove starts, and I really don't want to see those for a while.
Yeah, no, he is. He's going to be a she-handful for big league hitters for years to come. Okay, all right. I'll show myself the door.
Okay. Man.
Boo.
Hey, you know what?
Shannon
You
to
know what
the
I
Giants.
see? You know what I see right here?
Yes.
I see a couple of Hornito shot takers of
Let's
the day.
go.
I like this one from
Dun,
Diane
dun,
Schroeder.
dun,
She
dun.
says, "Smash the like button for Dodgers Nation." So there
Yes,
is one Hornito shot taker of the day.
sir.
And also, I like Rebecca here in the stream. Who also just gave us $1 super chat. Rebecca, we
Shout out to you,
appreciate
Rebecca.
you. But just before that, Rebecca said, and hold on, wait, give her the sound, give her the noise. I think you have to switch. Yeah, you have to do there's a whole song. Rebecca says, yes, Gavin Stone, he deserves more chances. I'm screenshotting this for receipts. You heard it here. So that's somebody that's high on the Gavin Stone train. I don't think he's done. I don't think he's going to be dead and gone forever. He will be back at some point. So there is another Hornito shot taker of the day. Drink responsibly. Thank you, Rebecca, for the super chat as well. But Stoner will make a difference for this club at some point in time. It's not going to be right now, and I don't think we see him again. I think we see Ryan Pepio before we see Gavin Stone back with this team, because he's also struggling at AAA pretty decently at the moment. But let's move on. Julio Urias will be talked about in a second because I saw hands go up.
We got another super chat.
Huge. What a day.
Great day. Seth Kerbal says, "Is Ben Verlander the saddest human on the planet?" Doug, I know you were
Doug.
talking about the bulk and everything that happened with
Doug.
Ben Verlander.
Man, he really went hard L on that balk.
Yeah.
Balk.
Dodgers come bulk. Remember when he did that?
Don't call it cum balk.
All right, just
The cum ball
Doug.
kids.
No. All right, come on.
It was an epic cum
give
ball.
us give the people want more Ben Verlander from you.
I mean, hey, what do you want? I mean, look, this Ben Verlander. It's reason number 7,548 why a guy just does not know ball. I mean, look, what more can you say? That was a clear-cut balk, and he just acted like it wasn't. And what I say on Twitter, I said, okay, it's going to go from, oh, it was a balk to it wasn't a balk to they just shouldn't call it a balk in that situation. Like, you want to swallow the whistle? No, my man, it was clearly a balk. Take the L and get off. And, hey, you're supposed to do a national show. I host a Dodgers show, okay? I have the right. I co-host a Dodgers show with the great Clint Pasillas, the Clay Kirsten on my Emmett Sheehan. I have the right to be a little biased, right? Because this is called Dodgers Nation. You host a national show. You got to be a little objective. Every time Mookie Betts could hit 17 home runs and he wouldn't post anything about the Dodgers, okay? We get it. You hate the Dodgers. But the reality is, look, I wanted to see him FaceTime his brother FaceTime his brother Justin, and have him explain to it on the air that was a balk, so he could just take that L. But look, the reality is, look, it was clearly a balk. You saw Stanek, who's still probably crying right now, still probably punching air, still probably yelling at Dodgers fans, but I wouldn't expect anything else from the Astros, right? I mean, they're a franchise that they don't know the rules or they break the rules. It's one of the two, and you saw it once again. So it was great to see a game-winning balk against the Astros team. It felt a very satisfying victory.
Yeah, I mean, you've said enough. I don't need to add on the Verlander train. Just I love.
I mean, he's freaking out like, oh, it was a balk. I mean, what are you talking about, dog?
Was it you? Somebody,
Do you not know
somebody
ball?
walked in and said that he definitely backtracked on his show today. That
He's
it was a
moonwalking
balk,
like Michael
but-
Jackson.
yeah.
He's backpedaling
Well, it
like
was
Deion Sanders.
It was a balk, but you shouldn't call it in that situation. So what? You don't call the rules all throughout the game. It's just, if the situation's too big, you don't adhere to the rules.
But Clint, as a ball knower, as one of the best ball knowers I've ever met,
But none to handle balls.
I like how I waited for it. There's no, I mean, that you saw the step off, the knee shake. I mean, come on now.
Credit to the 2B Blue for seeing that. It was subtle but extremely noticeable for people who are gonna. I'm gonna have. I agree with Dave. You don't want that to be the situation. You don't want the game to end or the result to eventually end that way. Because then you get in this situation where there's just hate being spewed online between two franchise fan bases that do not like each other even slightly.
I love how the fact that he's like, he had never been called for a balk in his career, as if that means anything.
Yeah, Emmett Sheehan had never allowed a major league home run until he did.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really stupid. And then
by definition,
didn't he go? Didn't he try to go to like Ron Darling or some old pitcher, the old crusty pitcher, is like, oh yeah, that was totally a balk. Okay, like why? Just because you decided that it wasn't a balk or whatever it is. Anyways,
Balk knowledge, son.
that's
I
old
mean, he also
news.
thinks the
But
Astros weren't cheaters.
when
We
you
know they
get
were.
the twitch, when you get the little stutter step, when you get the Jimmy leg,
Look, yeah,
that's
Look,
a balk.
MLB. When
Come
a
on
pitcher
home,
makes
Johnny
an illegal
DeLuca.
motion on the mound that the umpire deems to be deceitful to the runner, he was deceitful. That was deception. He stepped out the rubber, wiggled that
I don't
knee.
know if it was deceitful to the
But,
runner.
but still, like you can't. If you're in the box, if you're a runner there, you could still construe that as something that throws you off.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
And if you want the dub,
If you want the dub, you got to slug. Anyways, I'm over that. I want to talk about Julio Urias. So
Yes,
Julio's
sir.
coming back this weekend. That helps out the rotation a lot because you're getting a workhorse back in the mix. But he also, as we've already said, wasn't in the best of shape stats-wise entering or before he hit the IL. Hasn't been his best season. Of course, those 6 of the earned runs he's allowed this year, he had an ERA, whatever, it was under 4, under 3.8. Then the hamstring kind of gave way on him, and then he gave up those 6 runs in St. Louis. So you hope, I think they said, or he said, they kind of found something mechanically, and he was working. He took his time while on the IL for the last 6 weeks or whatever it is to work and get right. And you hope you have the Julio Urias we know and love from the last 2-3 seasons or so. Where are you on? I mean, it's hard to trust somebody you haven't seen in a while. But where are you? Where's your trust level with Julio coming back into this rotation?
I think there's a silver lining. I think the fact that this is a guy who has been heavily taxed the last few seasons, has really carried this rotation, has posted. I think the fact that you have that reset, you take a little longer on the shelf to return because you want to work out those things mechanically. I think he's gotten into better shape. That's obvious as well, too. He looks like he's a little more svelte out there, ready to go. So I'm definitely feeling a confidence level of Julio Urias. I think that he ends up being the best pitcher for the Dodgers down the stretch. I think even with Clayton Kershaw, I think from when he returns to the very end, I think Julio, man, he's got the bag, man. He's got money on the line. We're talking about millions, okay? We're talking about a difference of anywhere from 50 to 60 to 70 million. That is the best incentive, the best motivation ever for the Urias. And I also think, too, that he's a guy that he's just really beloved by his teammates. I mean, he doesn't say a lot, but everyone goes up to Julio, gives him some dap. And I think that the confidence that he inspires when he's on the mound, we're missing that. We're missing that edge from Julio. I mean, anytime he gives up 4 home runs, first time a Dodger done it since Ben Wade since 1954, that's not a record you want, right? So I think that he knows that he hasn't had a great season. I think he's the opening day starter that we all said, along with Will Smith, he needs to be an all-star. He's not going to make that all-star team, but what can you do? You can put this team on your back, have a little more tread on those tires in the postseason, and I think for him it's all about location. The velocity was down, the command was down, but he's still inducing soft contact, and I fully expect Julio Urias with a fire in his eyes, a focus, just refocused. I think we're going to get the most focused version of Julio Urias. Like, we're talking about a guy who's like, about to study for the SATs to get into college level. I mean, this guy's just ready for this big test right now.
You know, in a way, and admittedly, I haven't paid a whole lot of attention to the National League Cy Young race, but to me, it feels still pretty wide open. You can come back, have a really exceptional second half of the season, put a team on your back, and maybe you don't make the All-Star game, but you finally get some more Cy Young love. You go out and win a World Series, and all of that, it doesn't matter if you were hurt and you had a bad first 10 games, all of that equals bag.
Yeah, I love that point, though, because, I mean, you're right. Zach Gallen right at the top. I mean, 2.84 ERA. Zach Wheeler, right?
Come on.
That's why I think Clayton Kershaw, if he can continue to to healthy, the narrative for Kershaw, 4 Cy Young should already have 4. R.A. Dickey. What the hell was that?
To me, the R.A. Dickey thing, that was
like a rant
whack.
like 50 years after the fact.
That was whack AF. I don't know. It feels like the voter base has moved on from Kershaw. It's like he's not going to win anymore because he's 35. They want new kids to keep getting Cy Youngs over and over. Sandy Alcantara, yeah, he was fine last year. Maybe, I don't know if he was Cy Young worthy. Who else? Is Corbin Burns? Yeah, they didn't want everybody to join the Cy Club, which is kind of whack. But what ain't whack is super chats. Let's go. What
Let's
you got
go.
for me, DJ?
Whoa, we got 2 super chats.
Huge special day.
It is. It's
Special
a
day.
special day.
Thanks, guys.
Grumpy45 Dino said, "Do they sell bottles of Astro bulk tears?" secretly just wanted to hear the super chat music again. Hey, man, I appreciate that. That is.
Yes,
The music is for you
sir.
guys. I'm just the host of it. Oh, sorry. That's
love
the
that-
wrong line.
I love that we have the graphic like right over our logins as well.
And then Kevin
probably fix that.
Uhas said, "Is Dustin May our version of Jacob DeGrom? Absolute filth when healthy, but never on the mound. Should we reset the rotation by trading Catman and May?" Ooh. That's a
That is interesting. That's a deep dive.
That's a deep
for another
that's a deep
day
cut,
for
yeah.
sure.
That's a
Real
that's
quickly
a
on that one, I
dugout.
would say you don't trade Dustin May when his value is what it is right now. Same with Tony Gonsolin. I think if you could sell a team on the fact that maybe he is healthy, maybe he's a guy that makes sense for a team. But I think Dustin May, the potential, like you said in the comments, when he's right, he's filthy. I mean, like I said, his stuff moves more in the military family. I don't want him moving anytime soon like a military family. I want him staying in LA, staying in Dodger Blue. And until we see him fully healthy or if he gets injured again, I still want to give him that chance. I think his stuff is good enough that you still wait out. Let's not forget, Dustin May's still only 25 years old. Same age as Michael Bush, right? So
Right,
other
correct.
prospects.
Because numbers.
I mean, it feels like he's been in this rotation for years and been a part of the narrative, as part of the conversation.
Boomer Assassin says, "I'm not trading May ever." I want to see one full healthy season from Dustin May. I was all in on D May this year. This was going to be the year he led the team in a bunch of things, and then his elbow said, "Nah, fam."
Yeah, I came out get all that Dustin Mania
him.
merch made, and it's just collecting dust in a box somewhere. I was trying to make a big bag from that. But yeah, hey, look, also, too, don't rule out the possibility of if you keep a Dustin May and he does get injured, hopefully he doesn't, right? But if you do, he still has the potential to be an elite, one of the all-time great relievers, a multi-inning reliever, too. So that's still a possibility with him, too. So I think right now in Major League Baseball, especially with the new rules, you want guys that have filthy elite stuff because that you can't teach. You can't coach. What he has, the ability that he has, you can't coach and teach it. For me, it's just cleaning up that delivery, that three-quarter release right there. It definitely lends itself to possibly arm injuries, but it's so violent, but it kind of comes with the territory, right? I mean, it's like people get mad about Fernando Valenzuela, right? Fernando Mena, you overused him, right? Well, guess what? If he didn't pitch 8 complete games, if he didn't have a .5 ERA to start his career and pitch all his innings, we would have had a Fernando Valenzuela. So really, it just kind of comes with the territory. But yeah, I would not trade Dustin May. Tony Gonsolin, I would definitely pick up the phone for that one and listen to offers at the very least.
Yeah, you've definitely been. I mean, it's understandable to be a little less bullish on Tony Gonsolin right now.
I don't hate him. I love him.
He struggled to stay healthy for sure. Somebody giving me some crap about my. I wasn't saying Sandy Alcantara didn't deserve it or didn't earn it. I'm just saying he mostly got it on the back of pitching 40 more innings than anybody else. Like Max Fried had a really, really good year for the Braves, but it is what it is. And now rest in peace, Max Fried. All right, let's move on. We talked about Julio. Might as well talk about Tony Gonsolin. And then move on. Tony Gonsolin is he's incentivized to keep on pitching and pitch a bunch, start a bunch, throw a bunch of innings. But he's been struggling, man. It's been one good, one bad, one good, one bad. Now he's on 2 bad in a row. Where are you at? Where is he at on your trust meter?
I think for Tony, the big issue is
you
just,
kind of already tipped your hand a little bit.
it's not that my trust. I think he's still like. I still think there's a lot to like with Tony. I think he's a guy that you can really feel good about giving you 4, 5, possibly 6 innings to start, but the command has been off in the last 2 starts. The fastball command, he hasn't been locating. He's been leaving that splitter up in the zone. It led to 2 two-run home runs. So, yeah, I think that definitely is a cause for concern for me because he's going to live and die with that splitter, right? And most of those splitters that he's thrown in his career, though, they weren't as bad as the ones that he threw. You saw the middle, leaving out over the plate. He had only allowed 4 home runs on his splitter over the past 3 seasons combined. So only 4 in the past 3 seasons combined. He gives up 2 yesterday, 2 two-run shots. So that definitely is a concern. But I still think that the recovery, to me, it's not the on-field, the on-mound when he's on the mound. It's not the mound performance really that concerns me as much because I still think he can be above average, and that's what you want. I mean, the All-Star team, for me, I definitely have a little bit, I wouldn't say it's a red flag, more like a pink flag of what Dave Roberts talks about in between starts, the bouncing back. I mean, in his start yesterday, the velocity was down almost a mile per hour. So that continues to trend in the wrong direction. And if you don't know, when you have the split change, it definitely takes its toll on your arm. Just every time you hold a splitter, if you try to do a splitter with the ball, you feel different muscles flexing. Right? When you feel that, it's going to take that and cause that torque. So, yeah, definitely that's a concern because it definitely feels like there's a reason why that pitches has been phased out. But I definitely
He's giving you a lesson in fingering.
I still think he could be a solid number 3 starter. I have a 6, though. My trust level is at a 6 with Tony Gonsolin. if we're having a trust fall, I'm kind of looking back there, making sure.
That's fair. I mean, each year he's kind of struggled to remain or retain his trust level. Had a great year last year, and wasn't there when the team needed him most in September, and then in October probably questionable. Even though I had the same call, it's probably questionable to start him in Game 3 of the NLDS. But for now, though, he's a guy who's posting.
Yeah,
every
absolutely.
5 or 6 days, and that's important for this team. He gives you a better chance than somebody like Noah Syndergaard, who Dave really does not want to talk about to the media, even though he's around, he's throwing. He pitched three simulated innings at Dodger Stadium.
Wasn't at
over
the gala.
Weekend. Wasn't at the gala. Oh no! Or maybe he just kind of hid.
Syndergaard,
apparently. Did you see no Thor? Mm-hmm. Maybe it's official Avengers duty.
Probably a body double for like a Thor movie premiere or someone down the street, but yeah,
horrible.
Hey, Thor,
Thorific. Bobby Miller, give me where he's at on yours, because he's kind of losing some trust for me. Big thing for him. What did he say over his first few games? I just threw everything that Will Smith called. And now it seems like he's kind of shaking him off. He's kind of going to the fastball. He's kind of going to the fastball. He's kind of going to the fastball. And then they know the fastball's coming, which was the thing the Dodgers were worried about before he made his debut. And a lot of baseball experts that he gets too fastball heavy, fastball happy, and then they hit it. And we're seeing it get hit right now. When it gets hit, he gets rattled. And then it gets hit more, or he overthrows the next pitch, and that goes, shout out Lamont Wade for taking that curveball yard, which was a good hit. Could have got down a little bit more, but where are you at?
So I would say Bobby Miller, the talent is still undeniable, right? The stuff is still undeniable. You see that. The results, though, after a fantastic start, had the .78 ERA through his first 4 starts. Last 2 starts, a 12.10 ERA through 9 2/3. And I think, to me, the big takeaway is when the wheels fall off for Bobby Miller, the wheels fall off pretty hard. It's like when you're driving and you kind of get off the road and you try to oversteer and you overcorrect, and that's when you make things worse. I think that's what we see with Bobby Miller, because you see him when he's out there on the mound, he gets himself into trouble. It falls into holes. You saw the top of the 5th inning, gives up that single to Jolks, and then he walks Myers. So that compounds the fact. So you let the bottom of the lineup there start to get some momentum, and then what really threw him off, though, was the unexpected bunt single. He almost felt like, oh, you shouldn't bunt on me. What are you doing there, right? And that really throws him off. Then he goes back, gives up the home run to Bregman there on that 98-mile-per-hour sinker that was up and in. And then he walks Tucker, then gives up the double to Abreu, and then Diaz singled. So, yeah, they kind of left him out there to dry a little longer than I probably would have liked. But still, these are the necessary growing pains. And what I will say about Bobby Miller is that if you ever did want to see him in October, people were talking about maybe a week or two ago, Clint, I want him as my game 1 starter, right? I want him to be a guy that could possibly starting in the game 1 of a big postseason series.
I still kind of do, to be honest.
And that's fine. No, Clint, I'm saying that's fine. I'm saying you want these growing pains in June, because that'll pay dividends in October, because he'll realize, hey, it's about throwing strikes. And here, I'll tell you something, 62% strikes in his last 2 starts. That isn't going to get it done. You see some nibbling with him despite having that stuff. So really, it's about getting first pitch strike. It's about fastball command. It's also about Noah doing the gritty.
Noah's out here wilding.
Super
Chat.
chat.
Super chat in the chat. That's a great place to put it.
Freaking Noah
like
stealing my job. Yeah, we got 2 super chats.
I saw one of them. I saw Milo Hanger bringing a banger.
Oh, I like that. Milo Hanger bringing a banger.
Yes, sir.
Milo Hanger has actually 2. He said, fire Doc now, so he goes out on a high note. He's nice. And then he said, if we trade Catman, do the kitten shoes go too? What is super chat?
Diamonds at per.
Appreciate the double super chatting, Milo Hanger. It means a whole bunch to us. Yes, the kitten mittens do go with the Tony show. I don't know, I'm just trying to rhyme here, I guess. And Dodgers aren't going to fire Dave Roberts. Again, he would have to walk into Andrew Friedman's office, drop trowel, and just literally lay a deuce upon his desk to probably get fired. And Dave is very good at his job for what he's supposed to be doing in the modern game.
You have to take that 2020 World Series trophy, the Commissioner's Trophy, and ride around the parking lot like George Costanza did in Seinfeld. Probably do that. That might get him fired. But, yeah, I think what people don't see with Dave Roberts is, yeah, he's a confidence builder. He does that. But still, I think you can't pin the lack of success that the team's had on him. He really hasn't had a healthy group. But yeah, I don't think that the only thing I will say when it comes to Dave Roberts being on the hot seat, I will say if they did miss the playoffs completely this season, which is highly unlikely, but barring injury, if it's because of a multitude of injuries, then that'd be one case. But if they just fall off a cliff, I do think that he gets on the hot seat, and I think he might be a guy that could fall on the sword because, yeah, I mean, you're talking about a optics that a lot of people in the fan base, they want him gone. He's usually the guy that they blame. But I also will say this, sometimes when it comes to Dave Roberts, it's like, yeah, you say fire Dave Roberts, but one, who are you going to replace him with? And
That's
two,
the question.
do you really not like him? Do you really think he's a bad manager, or do you just not like the guy? Because I feel like that's kind of what it comes down to sometimes. And I can tell you, Dave Roberts, he's an A1 dude. He's a great guy.
Yeah, it's not always about a change of scenery.
Hey, Doc.
Hey,
Doc, come back.
I don't know. He ignored you.
Doug was trying really hard to get that Doc interview.
I've talked to Doc so many times, man. And I feel bad. He went past the blue carpet, like I said. I think we took talking to Max Muncy at the same time. Sometimes you got to choose one or the other. But, yeah, I do think that – I think with this team, though, I mean, you talk about another organization out there, whether it be a Bob Melvin type or a Bruce Bochy type, who I think is fantastic.
Bochy's really the only guy.
His head is so big. I think his head is so big because that's all the baseball he's ever known. It just makes his head get bigger and bigger and bigger. But I think that for a veteran team with a lot of stars, you like what Doc does as far as empowering leaders on this team, because I don't think Jason Hayward can have the same voice on a Bruce Bochy-led team, right? He's going to be the guy, the head honcho in that clubhouse. So I think for LA, too, if they replace Dave Roberts, it's not going to be like a Jim Tracy, the managers like that, right? I mean, you're not going to see someone that is going to change the game overnight.
Yeah, or a relative unknown like Jim Tracy was at the time. Let me tell you something. It's not Dave's fault that Alex Vesia has been asked this year, or Yancey gives up bombs or whatever it is. It's not his fault the starting pitching has fallen apart. That's just not on Dave. You know, he's trying his best with what he has, and he wasn't given the keys to a Lamborghini this year. Instead, he was giving it to an 86 Countach, which is also...
That's a great poster. Speaking of, tell Gary, get a poster of the Countach, the white one. Yeah.
Hey, going the white Countach, huh?
Yeah.
Not yellow?
The yellow's fire. Yellow's fire.
White's a good call.
White's clean.
We had more things to talk about. We're gonna say we'll pocket the deeper dive into the Miguel Vargas, Michael Busch stuff. So that gives us, if we're gonna do probably a show on Friday, that gives us 3 more games to see what Michael Busch is Miguel Vargas is all about. And those 3 games will be in Colorado. Quickly though, I think we should talk about the All-Star stuff real quick because people only have so long to vote. There are 4 Dodgers in the running to make the starting lineup for the All-Star game. The locks to make the roster for sure. The locks appear to be Will Smith, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman. Those are all the right calls. Will Smith, ideally, we'd love to see him start. I think Dave will say it too. I think Will Smith is the best catcher in baseball. He's just a dude. He's so dull, and he's really good at his job. And I'll be fully biased about seeing him over Sean Murphy and him over another game of JT Realmuto starting at catcher. On the bubble, JD Martinez probably will end up being the starting DH. But another guy, Evan Phillips, you can't vote pitchers. I think he's somebody who could make his way in there. How many Dodgers do you think should be and will be on this All-Star squad?
I think 4 at the end of the day. Like you said, Mookie, Freddie, those are absolute locks. Clayton Kershaw is an absolute lock. I think he'll be in the conversation to be starting that game. JD Martinez, when you consider the specialization of that position, a 125 weighted runs created plus 16 home runs. It's a brand name that people know that's been an all-star in the past.
5-time All-Star.
5-time All-Star. But as far as Evan Phillips, it's tough with relievers. I mean, with relievers, you almost have to have that mow him down stuff, the big moments, kind of be established as a closer to get those save numbers for multiple years. I think the people that know ball, he's a little bit of a deeper cut, but he's still one of the best in the game. But also think that, I just don't see it happening. I think if this team had been putting up a record like they did last year and their bullpen was among the league's best, and I think, hey, you got to give credit to at least one of those guys, and maybe Evan Phillips is that guy. But considering the bullpen hasn't been good, 1, and 2, the team hasn't been great as far as record. It's not like they're at the top of the National League. I don't see the Dodgers really deserving of 5+ All-Stars,
yeah,
right?
As I say, EP56 only has 10 saves, but really the big thing is they can't you can't squeeze another guy off of that squad, especially if you are going to include Kershaw in for his 10th All-Star game selection. You can't end up having 5 dudes or 6 dudes if Phillips or if Phillips isn't making it. I guess it would be 7 in that case. No, 6. You can't have that many dudes on the squad. So be happy with Will. Be happy with Mookie. Be happy with Mr. 2000, Freddie Freeman. And JD, you go out there and buy yourself an all-star.
To be honest, all I care about is all these other guys there, either locks for the Hall of Fame or guys that are going to make it to the Hall of Fame one day as far as the big 3 there at the top with Kersh, Mookie, and Freddie. I think Freddie still needs a couple solid years to really be a lock. But only thing I really care about is getting Will Smith in the All-Star game. If Will Smith didn't make the All-Star game this year, I'm not going to watch baseball anymore. I won't watch the All-Star game. I'm not even a big All-Star game guy. I'd rather watch the 2 worst teams in the league play a spring training game maybe than watch. No, I would say the 2 worst teams in the league play a regular season game than watch the All-Star game because it's an exhibition game. It doesn't mean much. They're not going hard. I mean, I think for me, I'm not a big All-Star game guy. I need it to count for something, but I still think the way that these teams, they play for, I think it's good for their contracts. It's good for their ego. It's good for the back of their baseball card. And I definitely want to see them get the honor. For me, it's really about the pageantry. And I think if they went back to wearing their uniforms where like all the teams, I think that would definitely entice me a little more. But usually I'm watching former games that day.
Hey, is Doug McCain ruining the All-Star game?
No, hey, look, how about this? Since Will Smith made his debut on 5/28/2019, I just want to point this out. Will Smith has been elite. His 861 OPS is first in the league. 69 home runs is second behind Perez. His 229 RBIs is second. His 136 weighted runs created plus is first. His 12.5 F4 is third. Will Smith, since he started playing baseball at the big league level, has been either 1 or number 2 best catcher in the league. His defense continues to improve. I think he's one of the most underrated and underappreciated players in the entire sport, and I definitely want to see him get his due, and I know he is.
If he makes the All-Star game as the starter, will you do a shoey live on air again?
Absolutely.
All
no
right.
question
We're
about
gonna
it.
ruin another pair of Doug's shoes, or at least one of them. Left shoe. You go left shoe, right?
I'll shotgun a beer and do it. A shoey.
Shoey.
I'll do a vodka. I'll do a Hornitos tequila shoey. I'm gonna have to
You got
Uber
the
home.
liquor right.
I'll have to sleep here. But yeah, it's definitely a dream of mine to see.
Before
Will
we
Smith
let
in
everyone
All-Star
go, we have 2 more super chats.
Super chats.
Kevin Uhas.
Thank you, Kevin.
Kevin Uhas for $5 said, "When we let Muncy walk in free agency at the end of this year, what are our options at 3B?" Real quick.
Well, he's got an option, so they're
No
not
way.
going to give up on Muncy. He's still going to be relatively not cheap, but that looked weird. He's still relatively cheap. They're he's gonna be around, and I'm not on board with Michael Busch as a third baseman. It's just not there. If they do move on from Muncy, Matt Chapman's about to be a free agent. You go all in on Matt Chapman. There's gonna be a lot of people on him, but I want a real, legitimate, bona fide third baseman because as great as JT was, dude wasn't a third baseman. He turned himself into a great third baseman, and then he started aging out of the position. Max Muncy, not a third baseman. He's gotten better, but that's just not where he wants to be. He's said as much. I don't like third base. It comes on you. It happens too quick. Anyways,
And then
Matt
one
Chapman.
more. Grump 45 Dino says, "Who's going to be Smith's backup if Cartaya gets moved?"
I mean, I think Austin Barnes is forever.
Still there. Still
Yeah,
there.
he's
Yeah,
He's
that's true.
forever
People
tied to
forget
this
about
team.
that,
We're gonna have Austin as the backup on this team until he's like 47.
Yeah.
He ain't going anywhere. But yeah, I would say the idea that the Dodgers would move off of Max Muncy when he has a 1-year, $10 million option is absolutely insane. They will not consider that for a second. They're going to 100% pick up that
Ludicrous.
option. I do like the idea. I mean, they haven't shown a lot of interest in signing third baseman to big money, right? I mean,
Showed a lot of interest signing a lot of people to big money.
but I mean, I think that position that they kind of, Matt Chapman, though, as far as defensively, he's one of the best in the game, 30, definitely above average bat. That'd be interesting. I don't know if he has the kind of sizzle that the Dodgers like in a free agent as far as marketability. This is my personal opinion, but I do think they're going to bring back Max Muncy, and they're going to have Shohei Ohtani DHing. So Definitely gonna have him at third base. You never know. Second
You
base could be
heard it.
open. Well, Michael Bush might not be there if they include him in a trade. So Max Muncy is gonna be on this team next season.
Which means he just said that it will not be Miguel Vargas at second base. We'll talk more about Miguel Vargas on the next one of these things. But guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us on this 2-hour show.
Is it?
It's up there a little bit. Find us on the internet at DodgersNation.com. is the best place to read and keep up with everything about your Dodgers because we are constantly writing there every day, every minute, every second. Noah's currently doing something probably related to it. Subscribe to Blue Heaven as a podcast. We're on iTunes. We're on Spotify. We're every spot your podcasts are available in your ear holes. So that helps us out. Helps us out a lot. Do the thing where you leave a review or star ratings, whatever you can do if you can. Big thing. Subscribe to us on YouTube. YouTube.com/DodgersNationTV. Hit the bell. Leave a like. Leave a comment. Go back on every video Doug's ever done. Go leave a comment and get us to 17 billion followers on here. I'm Real FRG. That is DMac_LA. That's Cody. Is Cody on Twitter? Cody got a Twitter. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for the questions. Thank you so much for the super chats. We will see you Friday. Bye.